Welcome to Mastering Life's Adventures, an educational podcast about tapping into your true self, the soul, your soul, the substance of your life, to discover what life's ups and downs are really about, and how to have a greater sense of purpose, peace, joy, and fulfillment. I am Dr. Judith Holder, your host, coach, psychologist, fellow seeker who enjoys diving into the connections between spirituality, psychology, wellness, and your everyday life's adventures. All preparing and polishing you like the facets of a magnificent diamond to be your best self. If you're craving more from your life, you are in the right place. Come, let's journey together and transforming what you know into who you really are. Mastering Life's Adventures begins now. Hi, good to be back with you and talking about this time, something that just recently happened in my world that may also happen for you. I'm going to call this falling out of warp, that you're doing things that you need to do and you're on that spiritual path, and then you get derailed or you get off the path or you get sidetracked or you go down a different path. And what happens when that is occurring for you? And we do it at different levels, at the mental, emotional, and physical levels that can get us off the path of our soul evolution, our soul growth, which wants harmony, wants peace, wants to be able to look at challenges and to be able to handle those challenges, in a very centered, balanced way. And one of the things that happened to me recently is I was in this group, and one of the things that was brought up as I was talking about these episodes that I was doing, and they were very much appreciative of the information that was being released through the podcast. But one person brought to my attention says, but you just finished talking earlier in the conversation I had with the group about doing this activity they asked me to do in order to get the word out more, but I was hesitant about it. And I expressed to them my hesitancy. And then it was so nice that, and we went on and we talked about other things, but coming back to the end, one of the persons said, but it does not look like you're in alignment here. You can do this activity. They brought it back, this, over here, but your uncertainties or your fears or your angst or your doubts or whatever, what's that about? Is ultimately what I interpret it as. And it made me take a step back, be still, and realize that's so true, that we can go in warp. And that in warp is we're in step with our soul, in step with the guidance, in step with what we need to do each and every day. But we also can go out of warp so easily initially with little things that we say or emotions that we feel of anxiety or fear or what people are going to think or how people are going to feel. All that we have to be aware of. Not only is that static, but we also need people to remind us that, hey, I am kind of walk and be more consistent around this behavior, or what I'm talking about. I'm trying to be more consistent in my positivity, for example, or I'm trying to make sure that I am having an intentional feeling of harmony and balance and givingness or compassion or love, whatever the quality that you're working on, that you want to be able to do that. But sometimes we can get befuddled, we can get annoyed, we can get anxious, but are we saying that we're not in alignment? To a certain degree, yes. But to another degree, it's welcome to life. That's why we have this life. We have the life in order to know that we're going to veer off, but can we come back on? Or can someone awaken us to be aware of the fact that we veered off? And what are you doing there? Don't you want to walk this path, which is more in alignment with the path or the direction that you're moving in? It goes back to episode number 2, when we were talking about intention informs your reality. So if I go back to my intention with the situation that this person said, why don't you just put this out there and let people know, or more about it, and put the episodes up on this platform that will allow them to know consistently what you're doing. And my kind of first response was, oh no, I'm not sure if I want to be that kind of broadcasted out that way. And I shared with them the reasons why that. But also there was an issue of that fear factor that we all have. And that's actually a nice way of warning you that they caught that I was living, I was in my pea soup and all I seen was green, at the time, but they can see the carrots and they can see the onions and they can see the spices and they can see the other things. And that's why community is so important. The sense of community, having other people of like mind who are trying to walk a similar path or do similar things that can be able to help you to know that's a carrot there. Just don't get into the pea soup of it, but you have some carrots here that you can really crunch on and nourish you and kind of move forward. We need people to help us to be able to do that, to keep us awake and aware, because we live in a world, as I said in one of the other episodes, of distractions, be it mentally, physically, emotionally, not just external distractions, but also internal distractions that go on, that occupy our spaces within ourselves, that we need to be able to speak. And this is what I told the individual: by the mere fact that I'm speaking to you these things, I'm speaking them, in a way that allows me to know these are little nestles of things that I would need to continue to be alert to and work on in my mastery, because there is self-mastery. And then there is also a community, each community is trying to master something too, that the community that you may belong to, or the groups that you may belong to, that you're adding certain values and they're also adding certain valuable things as well, that allows you to be able to come together in a group. And the particular two groups that I belong to is great synergy and great ability to be mindful, and we keep each other mindful about what we're saying and how we're saying it, so we can reflect on it, take that still time, stay in tune with light and love, so that you can be able to now continue to transcend yourself. The other thing I said is that I'm not going to always kind of do it right. I'm not going to be 24/7 perfect, but I'm not working to be perfect. I'm working for right heart. And they got that. It's the right heart by which we do something by, right thought, right feeling, that we're trying to figure out in our rhythm and flow of what that looks like in our family relationships that we have with our children, or in our relationships with coworkers and colleagues. How do we be more in tune with what is it that I need to do that will help this situation? And then others around you who are like mine may say, I can help too. I can help you. I can help you with keeping aware of when you fall out of warp, that you're not in the warp speed that you're wanting to go on in terms of your soul evolution, in terms of your growth and your advancement that you're trying to make. We all would benefit from having those around us that can be of help to us. So one of the things that I'm saying is, think about people within your life who are also interested in walking a spiritual path, and start talking about how can we help each other to keep alert, to keep aware, so that we're all evolving and moving forward towards that source, the mighty I am presence, the God source, the Atman. Again, whatever you want to call it. When we can be able to do that, then we start having a greater rhythm with what it feels like to be soul-centered with our decisions that we make, and be more aware of when we're feeling ruffled or agitated. It's not soul-centered. It's moving back into the ego persona that I mentioned earlier in another episode. And we're trying to distinguish between what is soul and what is the ego persona. And the more that we are able to see the two and observe them in manifesting and operating in our world, the more we can make better choices to walk the path of the soul, the substance of your life. And continue to be aware of the fact that it's not a matter if you kind of go out of warp or you fall off that balance beam. It's just sometimes a matter of when. But what do you do to get yourself back moving forward or on the balance beam to help you to move towards the adventures of living? And now using those adventures as nice grounds to play in, like a playground, playing in to see how you're doing, how you're feeling. And if you skin your knee, it heals, right? Skin your knee, or you find you didn't do something right, it can be corrected. That's the beauty that God has given to us in living a life and having each day be like a new day. Each day, you have an opportunity to try again. Do it better. Helping others. Seeing intentionally how you can be able to engage other people in a kinder, a more sensitive way. Helping others, because the more that we help others, guess what? We are also helping ourselves. Because there's a law of the universe, and that law is called the law of the one. And the law of the one is that spirit spark, that soul essence that I am is a unique aspect of God, but it's all of God. My soul is of God. Your soul is of God. And we're here to be able to give, receive, love, service, learning how to surrender certain things that are not in our good keeping or liking, or things that are habit patterns that are not to our benefit. And sometimes, yes, it is a sacrifice. Sacrifice the lesser aspects of who we are for the greater aspects of who we are. And that's a discussion in itself. Life is to be enjoyed. But life, we're here in this life also to learn lessons. And when we begin to be intentional about the lessons, for example, that little lesson that in that group that I belong to, that little lesson that was given to me, it was great. It was like, are you doing what you're saying you want to do? Your intention informs your reality. Listen to this, because this is how we do so subtly go out of warp. So my intention informs my reality, but at the same time, I was saying that I had uncertainty about whether I want to do this post in this particular large venue for the episode. And so I was focused on not being sure, or feeling a little bit angst about having to do it because of, quote unquote, what others would think if I did it there. But that was a great lesson for me. You say, well, that was nothing. Everything that we go through is an opportunity to learn and to advance by. Everything we do is an opportunity to grow and be curious. But why did I think it that way? Could there be another way of thinking about this? Why did I feel that way? Is that feeling one of balance, harmony, peace, appreciation? And if it's more of the feelings of angst, then we do know we just went out of warp. We do know we just got off the beam, that balance beam. And it's not to be critical of oneself, but it's just to be aware and make the correction. Make the correction. And one, the more intentional we are in making that correction and making sure that we're reporting our attention is informing the reality that we want to have, which goes with that law of attraction. So our attention. So if I don't want to feel angst, then why am I putting my attention to feeling angst and what other people will think? If I want my attention, my attraction to be more of goodness coming my way and attracting the best from experiences that are coming my way, then I need to pivot and put my attention there. But there's another dimension that happens for us that we can also be unconscious when we're slipping out of warp. And guess what I'm saying is, be aware of the fact that there's more complexities to the human nature of whom we are. And that's what I've always been interested in, this complexity that exists, not only for me, but for my coaching clients and for my groups that I belong to, for my family. And as Ezekiel said, it's wheels within wheels within wheels within wheels, in which we're having glorious initiations and testings that are going on, helping us to be more and more alert and aware, so that the soul can be able to walk a spiritual path and not hindered by the ego. So that's the thing I have to take still time about. Is this my ego that's not, is kind of hesitant to put this out there? And it was. In my ego, what people think. If it's what people will think, it's the ego. The soul doesn't think that way. It's more of, how can I serve? This is what the soul thinks about. The soul wants to do sacrifice, service, surrender, and givingness of helping others. It's receiving and giving love, and levels of affection and attentiveness. Totally different energetically, than fear, comparison, uncertainty. I want you to think about that. Think about those two dimensions that go on between the soul's needs and what the ego thinks it needs and wants. It's a continuous process, but it's a fun process, because it may sneak up on you, but you say, aha. It's like when you're playing hide and seek with a child, and you say, aha, I see you. And it kind of pulls back, so it hides behind the door. So it's like, no, you can't see me. But what I'm saying is that after you walk a spiritual path, when you see that behavior or that attitude or that feeling or that energy that comes up that is not in alignment with the soul needs, you say, aha. You say, aha, I see you. Thank you for revealing yourself to me before it sneaks behind the door. And behind that door, it's sneaking behind. It's like at the subconscious level, it's sneaking down that you no longer are aware of it. You have the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. And it can go into the unconscious too, and you're not knowing it's still lurking there, that particular behavior or action or attitude or thought or feeling. And so what you're trying to do, even memory, and what you're trying to do is catch it playfully. Catch it, see it, determine what you want to do about it, because this is the way you start clearing the field for your soul to be able to have space to reveal itself to you, as opposed to having all this other fears, doubts, uncertainties, worries. Am I doing it right? Or can I do it better? It's like, though that vibration is underneath, that is uncertainty. Underneath that is probably fear. Underneath that, you've got to say, what's the next piece of the onion peel that you peel back to see what's going on? This does not necessarily take hours and hours and hours of time to do this. What it takes is curiosity and a willingness to ask yourself the question, what else is going on here? And when I asked my own self that question with this platform, whether I was going to put it up on the platform or not, is it revealed itself to me through being quiet and being curious and breathing. Breathing in and breathing out, because where there is sometimes this angst or uncertainty or worry or whatever, we usually we're really hindering our breath or not even knowing it. But the breath of life, breathe in and breathe out to relax, give more space, and give an opportunity for your inner self to reveal certain things to you. And the more quiet we are around that, the more it reveals itself to us of what we need to do. And that's where it may come up as a hunch. Oh, okay, let me think about that. Or it comes out, through, as I said in previous episodes, in various ways that is trying to give you another piece of the puzzle to help you with that particular issue that you're looking at or trying to resolve, or trying to see if there's another way to navigate a situation that may be going on in your world. All experiences are here to teach us. Everyone that comes into your life is teaching you something. We may not always like it, and it may not always be pleasant at all, and it can be rough and challenging, and we have to be aware of it's just not teaching us something. It may be teaching the people who are coming into our world something as well. So this point that I'm trying to make is I'm human, I'm curious, I'm open to hearing what other people are noticing in my interaction with people, in my different groups, or in my family. But, I am also can go out of warp, and being out of warp. And when someone allows me to see that and I can reflect on it, sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's slower, but it's all for the purpose of me growing and learning and moving forward on my spiritual path. And I hope you can see that all experiences that you're going through are helping you, guiding you, if you're listening to your soul and taking that still time to catch you when you fall off the beam or you're a little bit shaky on the beam. There are those that are around you that are willing to help. Not just physically, but we can also spiritually ask for the help. That's the prayers to God. That's the affirmations one says to oneself. That's the fiats that we may give through the power of the spoken word. All things we'll talk about as well. But I just wanted to have this talking about the importance of catching yourself or other people catching what you're saying that is not in alignment with the direction that you're trying to move in. And see it as a blessing. It's not an issue around being perfect. There's no one in this human condition that we live in on planet Earth that's going to be perfect. So I say push that aside. What we're working for, which is what the soul needs, is right heart. The right heart by which we're doing something by. So think about that. Give me your thoughts about that. Take care. Thank you for joining me for this episode on Mastering Life's Adventures, being your best self through soul evolution. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, I would be delighted if you would share this episode with others, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe to my Mastering Life's Adventures podcast. Look forward to your joining the next episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you might have below. Bye for now.